It's tons and tons of money.
Big.
She wanted some muffins, like little tiny muffins, which she
Kelly
had a couple muffins in about 2 hours ago. She wanted
I know it's up there.
Yes.
snacks.
Cause they got to pay you that unless you get another job.
I left her.
And she promised something on the school and they that back or something. You're not hurt.
Hey, cool guy.
No, I just keep coming in about every 2 hours.
I never go again.
Yeah, never. I've never seen him.
No.
I go watch the game.
Yeah, watch any other sport. Now, after I went through that 80 million, I might start coaching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. I can't imagine.
Yeah, that was the general. Well, I can't imagine. Coach Saban having 0 bias. I mean, I guess if there's confidence, you don't have to have a bias. But I think he's the only one that's trying to. And it worked.
Right. Yeah, he's got nothing. He's got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
He got more money than he'll ever spend.
Man, you hear the last week?
How wise.
Well, I was the third, as everybody knows. And it wasn't because my siblings tortured me, it's genetics. Oh, I didn't get away with nothing.
Are you okay, Mike?
Today's my first day back. So far today.
You thought you were back working or something.
But then I had this Watchman procedure, so it sort of kicked me for a while.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll be working.
Susan's brothers had to have that a few times.
Really? A few times?
Yep. Well, at least she said a few times. I don't know if that's twice or what. But he's got some heart problems and what do you call it? AFib and stuff like that. And he's got blood clot issues. They don't know what caused that?
They thought it was one of those procedures they can do. They went back and checked them. And they run every test in there.
Did it come back?
Yeah.
I saw him on Friday.
It's come 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't as bad as the first time. Yes, it is. It is what it is.
Well, you know,
And I'll take, when I start this, I'll do this all my time.
well, that's no exercise at home.
So I'll make myself a list, I'll make sure I don't forget something. I try to get my wife to do it sometimes.
Because I'm still not supposed to drive, so I looked at the truck and I said, okay, good to know. And he goes, yeah, because what else? We're supposed to drive for a week.
I tell her all the time, she'll say something like, I got that. It's not another what you have to make her.
So anyways, he's out there, you know,
I have to do it, I'm telling you.
like an 8x8, and he's out there, he's growing, and drove a small hole inside it, and he's officially 8x8 record bar, pop it up out of the ground. And he's saying, huh? Well, and he told me, he goes, I'm not, he goes, I can do anything on the well. I'm not supposed to do anything on the ladder. I said, well,
Right. Yeah, I think take it up to the meeting.
It's a lot. So then he got it, he gets the pole on it. I was gonna try and hold it.
A lot of times I do. That's why sometimes the last day I say, well, what's in the minutes or whatever.
And the dumpsters everywhere.
Always right here.
Give me a second. So I walked down to my truck right there, came back up, I said, this is stupid. I said, what is so important on a Friday? He said, you got it there, oh. He goes, well, Brian, he's got that house down there, he's got that burnt house down the street.
October.
Yeah, Brian said, I gotta get that pole. I said, we're not even in town. I said, he ain't gonna know it doesn't happen. What, you can take a picture and send it? I said, Friday after Thanksgiving, last week, I was gonna come out here and inspect it, or hook you up. I said, what are we doing here? Oh, it's down there, it's flat. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Yeah, I guess it's plans is cut the slab open, splice, replace the plumbing.
So, anyway.
Well, I think there was some issues about ownership and your insurance company. I heard the insurance company was saying that cause of fire was due to criminal activity, and therefore you don't have to pay.
Well, you still
The
got
bank was like, well, wait a minute,
plans
there's a mortgage.
to make it, build it.
You got it.
Access the plans.
Told us you were gonna. You don't have to pay him for his
But
contents and stuff, but you gotta pay us for your money.
initially,
So that was part of it, I guess he tried to test part of it or something, I don't know, but yeah, fine. So I bought that lot between the fire station.
not from the time the plans started, which I just think plans out.
What's that? I know who my neighbor is. I mean, I paid less than asking. He was asking.
I don't understand some of
He was
this.
asking. Well, yeah, I was like, there's, no one gets pushed that that lot will ever sell. Yeah, and I said, first of all, I'm building. I said, secondly, you have more rules about, minimum square footage. I said, you can't even build a 1,500 square foot house on that without spending a ton of money trucking and dirt, doing modification. So we went back and forth, and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll do this. I'll offer you 35. Line ain't gonna go. I said, well, that's my offer. So then we went back and forth, and I said, how about this? I'll offer you $5,000, 15 cash. You keep it. And I need first right of refusal, if and when you present a valid offer to the buyer in excess of $50. He said, no, Lyman, he went back to Lyman, and Lyman and Chad said, no, you can't do that because we have to declare it on the MLS, and the realtor would see it, and they wouldn't show it. And I'm like, there's no realtor showing it now. I said, when are we gonna understand that that's a garbage piece of land? Only, like you said, has value to me. So last week, he texted me and said, hey, he goes, what about 24, and you pay close to it? I said, how about 20, split it? And he's like, oh, he goes, Lyman, talk to Lyman's partner. Lyman's got a money guy, borrow money for to buy all the property up at Sunday Park. Well, yes, that would be a money guy. So Lyman said, I'll have to go around and talk to him and figure out what we're gonna do. And, so Friday, Wednesday, work on the computer and get an email with not signed up. What am I not signed up? All you gotta do is sign my CO to that. I shouldn't have to call me, just send me the contract. Okay, fine, I'll sign it, we're done, So, yeah, sign it up for 20 we're split closing, which will probably be about $3,000 between, about 1,500. Could have kept his mouth shut, I'd have $5. Even Lyman would be swimming in the green right now with $14,000 extra. Dude knows most of the county, I think, based on the signs I see everywhere.
Yeah, it was for, yeah, the last 8 years. 46 lots on that. That'll be yellow.
Now you can't borrow money from him. You can borrow money from somebody else. I don't know. Keep your loan.
I don't know. He has a beginning of the contract or not. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. It'd be nice to get another contract.
I felt sorry for him. Huh? Something tells me that if I had his money, I could burn mine. I wouldn't need it. Come on. Well, some of the people, some of the time, well, I'm sure he, if you were, I was asking, what else you got that I can snatch up? Cheap. He's got everything he wants now is, 40 plus. It's all gold. He's got a couple of lots in gold.
Yeah, but it turned out really, really
Almost unbuildable. I said, well, I'm not.
it seemed like we had to send a few letters out. But everybody's
Just under 3.5, like 3.4, 3.7. So that puts me at 7.
plus.
Just under 7.
I think we've only had just a couple.
Yeah, I might, I gotta go through some manual listings maybe with a lawyer, because if I combine the lots, I can see the plot, then I can get out of his restriction.
I pay mine.
On every house,
Certainly do.
or every lot has to have a house.
Mine are all similar.
Because my original plans, I just cut a notch in my wood line and build a metal building on the side. Which I can. So I could also get Brian to wait, because he has authority to wait.
Now we do have,
12 and 15 is too. Yeah. But the thing is, on that lot, right on the street, to get, otherwise you're going to
to keep the landscape flowers.
honestly, I think the fire department uses it.
And then we keep it up. I don't even know who the president of HOA is or anything. I just pay my dues.
Barn dominions, strictly, it's got language strictly says barn dominions are no.
We done that all the time. When we moved in, it was like 225,000, 220, something like that. Now there's about 470, I think.
Well, he's got his Summit Park Phase 1, Summit Park Phase 2, and we're in 2, so it must make different rules for Phase 2. Summit Phase 1 was on the other side of the fire station, small house.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call this work session meeting to order. Steve, if you would, the roll.
Councilman Chapman. Here. Councilman McIntyre. Here. Councilwoman Davis. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Gray.
Here.
Mayor Trowbridge.
Here. All right, let the record reflect that a quorum is present. And so during the work session, just to reiterate for everybody, we're going to cover the majority of the work and look at the quotes and discuss any questions that the council has. And then we'll lead right into the council meeting where we'll vote on those topics. So starting off, we have block cameras on the agenda. Actually, I'm sorry. The approving the minutes from 11/17. Councilwoman Davis made a comment that her name was written as Samantha Bell, and so, but with that agenda, or with that amendment, is there any other issues with the council meetings, meetings that we need to take care of? Okay, all right, move right along, and to discuss block cameras. So in 2019, 2020, we got our first set of flock cameras in the city. And for those of you that don't know, the flock camera system is a very important system for the police enforcement, traffic, and control. And basically, it's a cop that's on every street that you don't know. That's if there is a stolen car, if there is a Amber Alert, it tracks the tags. It's not looking for the drivers, it's just tracking the tags. And so we have 3 in Margaret, one on County Road Bell, Wooden Ridge, one by Brookhaven on Saney, and another one on Old Margaret Road. And so we're looking to, as part of our police enforcement, we're looking to add a couple more cameras. And I was wanting to get a quote for 2 additional cameras and an optional quote for 2 more, so a total of 4 additional cameras. We don't have those numbers yet, so we're still waiting on flock. But our police department did finally get back in and get access to our flock cameras, which I'm not sure how long it's been since we actually had access to that data. But again, the flock cameras automatically roll in and report tags that are flagged to the authorities. So if someone has a stolen car, Amber Alert, or kidnapping, anybody of consequence, it automatically gets flagged and sent to the authorities for the proceeding. All right. Anybody in council have any questions, concerns, or locations that you'd like to see one? Okay. Moving right along, we've got a quote in the packet from Mr. Barker to remove, I believe, 4 trees that are overhanging the road and power lines on the main. And the quote's for $2,500. I believe with that amount, no need to really get additional quotes. And so we'll be looking for a motion during the council meeting, or during the consent agenda to approve this, unless anybody has any concerns, questions, or would like to get additional quotes. All right. Moving right along. So I'm going to address Facebook. Facebook was, the city Facebook page was taken down several years ago, and I'd like to bring it back and just control it and have it to be a very structured Facebook page to provide information to the people. No comments, just informational posts for the city. And so we'd like to revisit or revitalize the city's Facebook page. Does anyone on council have any questions or concerns? Okay. All right, moving right along. So Toys for Kids. We're carrying on with our Toys for Kids tradition, and we had quite a bit of community engagement and new council members being involved. And so we're pushing. Member Ray, what's that deadline for the applications?
5th of December.
Yep. So if you have anybody that you'd like to be involved in the Toys for Kids program, please get your application submitted by the 5th of December to City Hall. And I believe the plan this year is to have actual like a store for the parents to come and pick for their kids, right? And
Taking just basically taking the list or whatnot, and then a bunch of different municipalities will attend an open shop for at a large department store to purchase for those kids based off the listing of that those parents and stuff.
yep. And we've already had several other municipal organizations, private entities, and other people are donating toys to the drive. So if you want to make donations, please just bring them up to City Hall, and we'll accept the donations for that drive. All right, and for longevity pay, I'm going to pass this over to Mayor Pro Tem Ray to discuss his options and ideas for the longevity pay.
I know in the past, I know in the past we've done a lot of different options or whatnot. I think the years in the past we've done with the resource money that the state and federal government had given the city. We've done different things with that. My recommendation to the rest of the council is just set it up in 3 different terms for longevity pay. We usually do it as a reoccurring thing at Christmas time or whatever. But just set it up in 3 different terms: 5, 7, 50, and 1,000. That'd be the largest number would be employees 10 years or more. That's just my recommendation.
So 0 to 5 years, or 0 to 5 years,
5, 750.
500, 5 to 10, 750, and 10 and above, 1,000. All right, so we'll consider motions for that. Or actually, does anybody have any questions, concerns, or thoughts on that approach? No? Okay. Yeah, we'll move right along. We just really wanted to make sure that the people who are new hires and haven't been here a certain amount of time get a good appreciation and get a good gift. And, because we have a lot of staff that has been here for a short period of time. All right, and
Something we try to do, I guess, as long as I can remember, run it 5 years, just basically shit, want our employees to appreciate them at the end of the day.
And finally, actually, I may have had an oversight and left this out of the agenda, but the idea is the same, and we'll bring it back up at the next meeting. But essentially, I just want to establish a calendar of events for the city. Like, too often we're scheduling events at the last minute and winging things, and so I just want to have a formalized calendar of events for the city that's recurring. So every year we know 4th of July is going to be on 4th of July. It's part of the plan. We know that the Christmas parade is going to be on the second Friday of the month, and all the holidays, obviously. We have some interest from some citizens that want to celebrate Founders Day, and so we want to try to host an event for Founders Day. And then Margaret Incorporation Day to celebrate August 13th, the day that the city was incorporated. I want to try to have some Margaret nights during the summer, similar to things we've had before, but to get them on the calendar and get them official and to plan for them and plan towards them, so that it's not if, it's a matter of just that it's already planned and set. Trunk or treat, we're going to shoot for the 3rd Friday in October. Thanksgiving food drive, the entire month of November. Probably need to start in October, but just know that every year we'll have a Thanksgiving food drive, which you can see some of the results in the hall. And Toys for Kids, again, we do it every year. So we need to really start that probably September, October. Like the earlier the better on those events. And so, and then finally the Christmas parade and a tree lighting. So the second Friday in December, we're going to try to have this Christmas parade every year, second Friday, so people can know, plan, and be there accordingly. And a couple of optional ideas are a spring cleanup day, First Responders Appreciation Week, some youth and seniors festivals with a community center, and then Veterans Days. Samantha is quite adamant about her celebration of veterans and respect for veterans. And so, we think it'd be better to have a long weekend rather than just a day for veterans, so that we can have events around the city to celebrate and appreciate those veterans. And so, I'd just like the city to consider adopting an annual calendar that recurs every year, and so that we can plan accordingly and that the people can be more informed of what's going on in the city. Any questions, concerns, or events that we didn't discuss or you might be interested in? Okay, moving right along. Some of the ladies from that meet at the Dewdrop are looking to build baskets for the senior citizen centers, and they need a place to meet and to assemble the baskets. And they've asked if they could use the council chambers this Thursday afternoon, and I would like the council to consider allowing them to use the chambers and the tables for the afternoon to help assemble the baskets and to give out to the folks in the senior center. And so that'll be part of our consent agenda as well. Any concerns, questions, or comments about that? Okay. All right. Moving right along, we're going to get into the city business, and I'm going to spend some time during the meeting discussing grant opportunities. And some of you may have picked it up out front. I had a list of grants that from the day after the election, I started writing up grant opportunities, and unfortunately was not able to get on the agenda, and so we missed a few of those opportunities, but I want to make sure going forward we don't miss them again. So, like I say, I provided everybody this list of opportunities. There are currently 3 new opportunities that are all community center and library related. And so you have one that allows the T-Mobile Hometown Grant, they get up to $50,000 for a shovel-ready project to do repairs to a building. So we could take our old city hall and work on building it, improving it, and making it more of a usable facility. And then the Alabama Power Foundation has a grant that's up to $50,000 for the same basic thing to work on improving community centers. And then finally, there's a Laura Bush Foundation grant, which Ms. McCarroll here? I asked Ms. McCarroll to be here, and she might be here for the council meeting, because this grant is only eligible for Title I schools, and I just think it's important for everybody to understand that Margaret Elementary is not a Title I school. It'd be better to be explained by Ms. McCarroll, and so If she doesn't make it for the meeting, I'll dive into that a little bit more. But I just, again, don't want us to miss out on any more opportunities so that we can take all of our taxpayers' funds and be good stewards and multiply those funds. If they have any questions, concerns, or grant opportunities that they'd like to pursue. All right, moving right along. We're going to have a ceremony for the police department during the meeting, also for the fire department. And so we may talk a little bit more about that during the meeting, but right now those are just swearing in ceremonies. And then public works, this is kind of a big topic, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more during the meeting. You get Todd? So public works, it's in worse shape than anticipated, and I'll go into this a little bit more during the meeting, but Todd has graciously stepped up and as their interim and is trying to pull some things together to get the department the tools that they need. And I mean, just one thing in particular, and I'll delve into this a little bit more later, is that the public work is in charge of tree removal during storms. They didn't have the first chainsaw, and so we're missing vital tools. But Todd, would you like to speak to some of the tools that you presented in the packet that you're interested in?
Yes.
Make sure it's transition room.
We're looking to, we have a truck that the city bought in 2002, I believe. They put a flatbed on it. So we're looking into getting a service bed for it to make it more usable. It just sits around now, most of the time now. The hot mix, everybody knows cold patch is iffy. This is a machine that will go on the front of the skid steer. You can use millings and put the millings inside of it. What looks like a concrete mixer. Heats it up, breaks it back down, and you can use it as hot mix. It also has a built-in wet roller where you can, as you dump it out, you use it to smooth it back out. The dump trailers for cleaning up, tree removal, picking up trash. Of course, a skid steer, multi-use tool.
And the quote you should have is for $9,000. We're gonna get a couple more quotes on that since it is above the bid limit. But a skid steer is an essential tool for the department, so that with all the accessories and everything else they can do, it's a no-brainer. And
Yes, sir.
And the last thing, the Vermeer, the pump and the pressure washer.
Oh, yes. So it's called a hydrovac. It's a multi-use tool. It has a high pressure washer on it, and also a vac. It works like a vac truck, like a 710. You can use it in all the subdivisions to tear up, to dig around all the fiber optic lines, gas lines, and it helps create a mess as you're digging to where you can get down to the water lines.
Essentially, just to re-simplify that, it's using water to dig around the existing utilities so that you keep from having to actually puncture an existing utility and having to come out and do a repair of an existing utility. So for one, it's good for when we're doing existing work, but two, if we're in a hole with a leak and it's filling up with mud, this can be used to vacuum out the hole and transport that somewhere else so that they can work safely in a more pristine.
And also, anywhere that water source is not limited in pressure washing, as far as like the storm shelters or, outside, anywhere, you can use it as a pressure washer also.
And so I really appreciate you going through this. Does anybody have any questions or concerns before I make a few comments about it? All right, so some of this is in our budget, and some of this is stuff that I would like to consider, for the council to consider using some of the road fund money to do. The hot mix is something that we can take the road fund money and actually purchase the equipment to do better repairs of our roads and more permanent repairs. Rather than having a cold mix patch that lasts from 2 months to 6 months, we could get a hot mix patch that can last anywhere from a year to 10 years. And with a little bit of prep and a little bit of work, we can really up our game. And we've established quite a bit of money in our road fund that we can then use to purchase some of this equipment. Some of the other equipment, like the Vermeer, would be a great tool to have, and I really want our guys to have it, but I'm going to pursue funding opportunities for it.
Yes,
So I'd like to, with the grants and everything else, also to consider the tool, and so that we can pursue funds for it. Do you have any questions before we move on? All right. The last thing, and this is just opening up the topic. Thank you, John. This is opening up the topic for conversation, and we'll revisit it at the next meeting. Is that there's been quite a bit of interest expressed by employees in modifying the city council work week, or the city hall work week. And so we're looking at possibly going to 4/10s, and we're looking at all the options there. Argo and many other cities do it already. And, we're going to discuss and look at all the options and talk through it. And since I'm bringing it up now, we can make a motion on it at the next council meeting. But does anybody have any concerns, thoughts, ideas on moving the city hall to 4 10-hour shifts? All right. Well, with that, no further ado, we'll move right into our regular city council meeting. Would you like to take a break real quick, or we move right in? All right. So with that, I'll close our work session and call our regular council meeting to order. Teacher, can you do a roll call?
Councilman Chapman. Councilwoman Bell. Present. Councilman McIntyre. Councilwoman Davis. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Ray. Mayor Porter Richards.
Here. All right, let the record reflect that a quorum is present. And Mr. Walker, if you would just first.
Yes. Father, we come before you tonight, just thank you and praise you for who you are. Thank you for the blessings that we receive daily. We also want to thank you for this great nation you've given us to live in. We continue to lift up our president. We lift up this mayor and council to you, and I pray that you'll give them wisdom and direction in the way that you have us to go and please you. For we ask you in Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Like Rain family, continue to salute the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone, and I want to thank everyone for being here. Tonight's going to be another good night for Margaret, and tonight's going to focus on moving the city forward with some clarity and purpose. This administration is committed to rebuilding the trust with the people, and by putting the systems and plans in place that truly work for Margaret, and that starts with having a strategy, budgeting, accountability, just the very basics for good government. So first and foremost, I'm going to call for approval of the consent agenda. Council, you've seen the minutes and we've discussed the topics. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Ray made the motion. Looking for a second. Councilman Samantha Davis, second the motion. Did you have a roll call vote?
Councilman Chapman. Councilwoman Bell. Councilman McIntyre. Councilwoman Davis. Mayor Pro Tem Ray.
Yes.
Mayor Porter Richards.
Yes. All right, with that, we can move right along. And so basically, you've heard me say the word grant a lot, and immediately after the election, I jumped right into it, and I started writing up grant opportunities for the city. And unfortunately, they were never placed on the agenda, and I'm not here to accuse anybody. I just want us to acknowledge that when opportunities are ignored, our people and our citizens pay the price. So 2 of these grants would have made both of our city parks ADA compliant, accessible to every child, parent, and grandparent in Margaret. Another would have funded ADA compliant improvements to our storm shelters, including safe and covered walkways, so that you can have safe access during severe weather. I even spoke with Pastor Dearman about partnering with North Valley to own that grant, because it required a 501c3, but unfortunately they are just a nonprofit. But we basically had another grant. It was a ready to submit proposal to put in a 2.15 mile nature trail from Little Black Creek Road all the way down to Wilson Park, and basically following the creek, and just a crush and run trail where everybody could go from Wilson Park down to this side of the city. And ADECA has an annual grant for this, But unfortunately, we didn't make it to the agenda, so now we can wait until next year to apply for it. But the plan is already made, the money has been estimated, and, you know, this is another reason why we just have to change how we operate so that we can seize these opportunities. And, you know, I also want our departments empowered, not hesitant. And so every dollar we budget as a grant is actually like a $5 improvement for that department and for the city. So the general match is 80% to your 20% donation from the city or contribution from the city. And so every dollar that we can get in grant funds is like $5 back to the city and to our citizens. And so it's about good stewardship of our taxpayer funds. And so as part of that plan, I actually put this in the budget. Every department has grant fund matching. And so every department can apply for grants up to a certain amount so that we don't end up becoming a grant poor city, or we end up having so many grants that it hurts our bottom line because we have to meet all those matches. And so tonight I'm requesting the council entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to prepare and submit any necessary resolutions for grant applications that fall within the approved budget from last meeting. And this will allow us to move quickly, meet deadlines, and to ensure Margaret does not miss out on future opportunities. And so, do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to prepare and submit necessary resolutions and grant applications with the approved budget? Or within the approved budget? This is just a motion to be able to apply for the.
I'll make a motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made a motion. Looking for a second. Councilman Marshall Bill seconded the motion. We'll have a roll call vote.
Councilman Chapman? Councilwoman Bell? Councilman McIntyre? Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Reed?
Yes. All right. So moving right along, the city has already seen success in grants from Brookhaven Drive, but also with the police department. So the police department on day one had already secured the grant that I mentioned for the last council meeting, which is essentially $70,000 to $80,000 a year in funding for additional police officers on the street to have those interactions with the people. And so that's 2 full-time officers that are funded, and it's an annual recurring grant. And so we put in the time, we submit the time, and we get reimbursed for the time. We've already applied for a $50,000 no-match grant for upgrading body cameras and moving to the Axon body camera and car camera system, which is a far superior system to the one that we currently are utilizing. And tonight, as I mentioned earlier, in the work session, I want us to pursue 3 aligned grants that would allow us to convert the old City Hall into a building that could be a Margaret Public Library and community meeting center. So the T-Mobile Hometown Grant is up to $50,000 for shovel-ready community spaces. The Alabama Power Foundation Grant is $40,000 to $50,000 for accessibility and building improvements. And then the Laura Bush Foundation Grant is from $7,500 to $10,000 for books and supplies for a library and for a Title I school. So again, Margaret Elementary is not Title I because the poverty level is not high enough. And Margaret to qualify for Title I. And also Ms. McCarroll would be here to speak to that a little bit more, but just know that while Margaret Elementary can't qualify, St. Clair County can. And so I would like to pursue this grant so that we can purchase more books and equipment for St. Clair County High School. And you know, as Michael Scott once said, and Wayne Grayson originally said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so I'm done missing shots, and I look forward to us moving forward and pursuing these opportunities. And with the previous motion, I will pursue these. All right, moving right along to the police department. We're going to move forward with swearing in of Police Chief Wayne Walton. And so at this time, we'll bring Wayne forward, and I'll just say a few words. And so, you know, before we do this swearing in, I just wanted to say that Chief Walton has already demonstrated professionalism, structure, and integrity that this moment in Margaret requires. He's stabilized operations, improved officer accountability and attitudes, and he's begun rebuilding the community confidence already. And his work ethic speaks for itself. The only person who get there before him is me. And here leading our city and our department.
I state your name.
Wayne Walton,
A police officer for the city of Margaret.
police officer for the city of Margaret.
Do swear or affirm
I swear and affirm
that I will,
that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
perform the duties required of me.
to perform the duties required of me.
I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
and the Constitution of the state of Alabama,
the laws, ordinances, and procedures of the city of Margaret,
laws, orders, and procedures of the city of Margaret,
and in all of my acts and duties,
and all my actions and
I'll be governed by the police department.
I will be governed by the police department.
I will not shield the guilty from punishment,
I will not shield the guilty from punishment,
nor shield the innocent,
nor shield the innocent,
and protect the citizens of Margaret
protect the citizens of Margaret
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you. Appreciate your service. All right. Yep. And continuing right along, we're going to swear in our new fire chief, Brett Thomas. And so, as Brett comes up, I'll say a few words about him as well. And so, Chief Thomas has already strengthened our department by adding 5 new paramedics to staff. And so that's already a level of service that our city hasn't seen in a long time. And we're one step closer to being LS certified. And so, along with that, he's expanding our capacity. He's working on reducing some response times and improving our department structure and pay structures for all of our firemen. And so he's developing a multi-year plan, and we'll be elevating our services to the next level. And I look forward to his professionalism and leadership and the benefit it'll give to our residents for years to come.
I state your name.
Brett Thomas,
A firefighter for the city of Margaret.
a firefighter with the city of Margaret.
In all my acts and doing,
All Max duty.
I'll follow the Constitution of the United States,
I'll follow the Constitution of the United States,
the laws of the state of Alabama,
the laws of the state of Alabama,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Margaret.
the laws and ordinances of the city of Margaret.
I will do everything under my duty
I will do everything under my duty
to protect the lives
to protect the lives
of the citizens of Margaret,
of the citizens of
and
Margaret,
all citizens of the city of Margaret.
and all citizens that come to the city of Margaret.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Brett is also a recent graduate of Alabama Smoke Diver. He is a certified smoke diver with the state of Alabama, which is the highest level of certification any firefighter can obtain.
And so again, let me congratulate you and thank you as well. Appreciate your service and look forward to everything you're going to bring for the city. And also next month, we'll be also have another swearing-in ceremony for our new deputy chief, Al Tinney, who has already proven to be an invaluable asset and will be a great aid to the department and to Brett. And look forward to bringing Mr. Tinney in and getting everything moving. And so a month from now, we'll be having another swearing-in. All right, now I want to turn my attention back to Public Works. We've discussed the tools and things that they need, but and I just want to publicly thank Todd Schaffner, who has stepped into the role, who was hired into the role of sewer operator, but has stepped in and is serving as interim Public Works Director. And so it was not what he was hired to do, but he stepped up and done a great job of working with the guys, showing them patience, integrity, and a willingness to do what's needed to help the city and to move things forward. And so, but as I mentioned, the situation inside Public Works is worse than expected and worse than I could have anticipated. Many of the basic tools needed to do the job, tools that taxpayers have paid for before, are missing, broken, or unaccounted for. And so we've discussed these issues during the work session, and now are gathering additional quotes and exploring grant opportunities to work with the EDC and to get funds to get the tools that this department needs, and some of the other tools that we're spending taxpayer funds immediately to get to allow them to do their day-to-day job. And so, I mentioned earlier using the road funds to get some of the essential patching equipment so that we can do a better job patching our roads, make more permanent repairs, and really improve our game. harder topic that nobody really wants to bring forward by us. You know, as I mentioned, several departments were already far behind on equipment, supplies, and tools that all of their employees needed. And, but the issues go deeper than I anticipated. And so now we're in the process of conducting a full internal review supported by multiple state agencies and regarding misconduct involving the police, HR use, and election processes, financial misappropriations in multiple departments, and large expenditures that were made by the city without council approval. I met just last week with the state auditors of public accounts, and I can tell you they're paying very close attention, and they're looking very closely at what's going on in Margaret and what has gone on. And every one of us should be asking the question, like, how does Margaret spend nearly $5 million in 2024 fiscal year, but the council only approved barely over $2 million? Who approved that money? Who pushed to spend that money? As I've mentioned online and in other posts, the mayor is personally responsible for any funds expended without council approval, and the treasurer as well. And so this is an egregious oversight. And there's a reason I've been asking for a budget for so many years, because it handles these situations and does not put Margaret, our tax funds, and these agencies in our back door and looking into our business. And so we know who approved and processed those expenditures, including a nearly $700,000 transfer from Public Works in fiscal 2024 without any knowledge or information to council. They just moved money to cover expenses. But we had a surplus that year, but we still moved money without council knowledge or approval. And this council's job is to control those purse strings, and this council is responsible for those funds. It is everyone's up here's job to manage that money and be fiscally responsible and to be good stewards of that taxpayer funds. And so it's not just a 2024 issue. I'm just highlighting those issues that I have found in the short time that I've been in the seat. And so we're going to follow the money with transparency and the full support of state auditors. And I'm also assembling a financial committee to assist in locating every taxpayer dollar and strengthening our internal controls so this doesn't recur in the future. And there's one last serious matter that I already broached. And for months, I mentioned missing tools, equipment, and supplies. But these are not just small items like the chainsaws, but there's tools essential that these departments need that had, and they're no longer found or can't be located. And so, and not to mention the misuse of some of our city gas cards that are just egregious overuses of the city's funds. And I would prefer to pay our employees a good livable wage and not try to supplement their pay with tricks and trade and using other alternative methods of paying them. I want to pay a good wage and have our employees enjoy their job, take care of their people, and do a good job for all of us citizens. And that's part of being a good steward. And so tonight, we also have had many, the city's been paying many unapproved private contractors for work that city employees and departments should be doing. No council approval, no council notice, no council was not made aware. These contractors were just hired and for years were getting paid without council knowledge. Some of them even being 1099 contractors that were using city equipment, which is an issue because those 1099 contractors have other requirements for licensing, bonding, and insurance. And so tonight I'm issuing a formal notice that if anybody is in possession of any items purchased with taxpayer money, it needs to be returned to the city by Wednesday morning. And after that time, the city will be beginning the process supported by the invoices and purchase orders and receipts in records to retrieve its property in accordance with state law. It's not optional. This is stewardship and good stewardship of the taxpayers' funds. And so at this time, we need to enter a brief executive session so I can discuss some more of these matters with the council members. And so it shouldn't be a long session, maybe no more than 10 to 15 minutes. And so I need a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session for 20 minutes and make it 6:56.
Mayor Kim Ray made a motion. Councilman Samantha Davis second motion. All in favor? All right, we'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
patience. We appreciate your time, and the city is doing the hard work to move the things forward and do what we need to do, and things that should have been done a long time ago. Tonight is just more proof of that transparency, accountability, and the service that I think will guide this administration forward. With that, we're going to move on to public comments. And so, Mr. Gary Inlet, he was the only person who submitted a request. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Tortorisi, members of the council. My name is Gary Heimer. I'm a resident of District 5. I rise to seek some clarification and maybe offer some areas of improvement as to how the meetings, the consent agenda, and the comment process is administered. It's important to note that while I may or may not have voted for you, as every resident of Margaret has a vested interest in your success. It's been well said that a rising tide lifts every boat, and I hope that's what happens. My first concern is with regard to the consent agenda. When did the residents get to speak to the consent agenda? Because we don't know, and I know we had a holiday, and it was posted late, but, like, I'll just pick on one. Flock cameras. Flock cameras was heretofore unknown to anybody in this audience. So if somebody did object, when would be the point to object?
Do you want to list other questions?
How do you want to do it, sir?
Go ahead and list your question, and I'll hit one.
Okay, all right, yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, as I said, the agenda was late, so, people didn't know it was coming. And maybe there's an opportunity of improvement there to maybe put some backup on the consent agenda and publish it on the website. So we know in advance what's coming, and maybe even go to far as saying, hey, we're contemplating signing with Flock, a 10-year agreement at $10 a day, whatever that number is. Just so we, as taxpayers, and again, in the interest of accountability and transparency, know. Same thing for regular agenda items. When would somebody be heard on a regular agenda item? Before or after a vote? Because if it's afterwards, our opinion is moved. Secondly, the rules. I'm all for the rules of decorum in your meetings. Nobody wants to hear the elected or appointed officials of this city be personally attacked, their families drug into the city business. We don't want meetings to devolve into shouting matches, profane language. But with great power comes great responsibility to all the parties. And I'd ask that the council maybe revise the rules to require speakers to state their name and their district. And the reason I say that is because, as you have said, we're one of the fastest growing cities in the state. It's almost impossible for Councilman Ray, as my councilman, to know who I am until I first stepped up here and said, hey, I'm a resident of District 5 and I have a concern. So it's only fair. And, again, carrying on in that theory of great responsibility, I'd ask for maybe to consider some changes and some opportunity for improvement. We talked about the consent agenda, and maybe allow that if we find out about something and I go to my councilman and I object, that they can pull that and say, hey, you know what, let's table that and we'll come back to it, after I have thought. The backup about city awards, proposals, whatnot, perfect example. And an opportunity here might be to say, listen, maybe we put something on a ballot or on the agenda for a first reading, and then we come back 2 weeks later and we vote it. That gives everybody here time to say, I object to the Flock camera, and I'm picking on Flock. I don't have a problem with Flock, but I'm just picking on it. The last one might be, let's, with respect to the public comment, maybe stop the public comment from being broadcast. As elected officials, we want to be heard, but when you take away that bully pulpit, it might change things. A lot of governments do that now. They, will allow public to speak on the record, on camera or on television, whatever, for a city business, but at the end, when it's, the Wild West of comments, we cut off the bully pulpit. Now we, have nothing. And you have additional levers, they're on the walls, that you can pull if something did get out of hand. And now my favorite subject, lawyers. As I said, why did New Jersey get the lawyers and New York City got Staten Island? Because New Jersey got to pick first. Lawyers are important and our city needs them. But again, and I knew that last time we first had to have a motion, we had to ratify their hiring and then go into executive session. But lawyers can get expensive. And especially when things start evolving into maybe hiring outside counsel, that they're outside of their sphere of expertise. And I would just ask, are there provisions for them to hire external counsel? And if so, is there a limit on how much we pass through the original law firm that we hired? The other point, 2 weeks ago, was did we need two of them? And is the meter running on both of them full-time? Because maybe, maybe not. It's, again, just, do we need them? If we need them, we need them. And that brings me to my last item of criticism or complaint or concern, how do you want to call it? All these people spent time and money coming here tonight, all right? They drove, they took time out of their personal time. I'm asking, you know, can we maybe set up some method where you can advertise for an executive session, because we can't be there anyways, and hold it on your time and not on ours? You know, I get that we had to do that the last time, because first time with the lawyers and whatnot, but going forward, in, you know, mutual respect, nobody wants to sit here and stare at the agenda or an empty dais for 20, 30 minutes. Now for my council. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The last point you said?
Yeah, this is it. For Chief Walton and Councilman Ray, I'd like to address the item of traffic control on Summit Park. I am soon to be a resident of Summit Park. My family is building 3 homes up there. There have been 2 rollover accidents in the past 60 days. And rollover accidents are caused by speed and speed alone. So I'd like to know what we can do to possibly do some traffic calming, whether it's enforcement, whether it's speed bumps, and I know fire departments don't like speed bumps, and Station 2 is up there, but something's gotta happen, because we can't have this carnage every month of a rollover vehicle accident.
You good? Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
You good?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, I'll start at the top. So,
Okay.
The consent agenda, in its nature, is intended to handle some pretty rudimentary business that's, you know, agenda minutes, a few things that, and that the council has like seen and has had time to review. And so that's why I'm pushing to get the council the information well ahead of time from where we've had before, and I'm gonna continue to improve that even further, so that, you know, they can have time to review the minutes, look at the topics and everything. Now, on my board in my office, I have like list out the agendas, and then I have a first, 1 tick and a 2 tick.
Okay.
My goal is to get to
First
where.
read, second read.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
My goal is to get to the full process where we have a first reading, and then the next meeting, you can public comment on it before we vote on it and have conversation.
Thank you.
And so my goal is to get there, but right now I'm drinking from 2 fire hoses.
I understand.
And so,
Yes, yes, Mayor, I'd just like to say that everything that's done on the consent agenda is a resolution item, which is a permanent. Anything that is an ordinance item, there would be presented to the council. There would be a period of time where there could be public comment.
Absolutely.
And then the council could approve it if they have unanimous consent. If they don't, they have to wait till the next meeting.
And that's a good point. I made the comment that it's typically routine business, not something that's a permanent change or that's like, you know, a big deal. And so that's the same basic idea. It's basic business and things that council should just be like regular bills, paying the regular bills.
Exactly.
And, you know, but like with the flock, this was the first reading, there will be a second reading on it. And again, I think it's.
I know you didn't have the quote,
That's
so.
right, that's right. That was numbers of times, so we've still got some work to do there. And so on the public comment, and I'm gonna hit this in the bullet bubble at the same time. I know you've been coming for about 6 months or so.
Yes, sir.
And for 5.
Seen it.
No, this was more than a bully pulpit. This was a madhouse, and it had, order had to be brought.
I understand, I have no problem.
And so it's, with the process and people understanding the process, it will smooth out and people will get into the routine and understand how it works. Almost every other city has a very similar process. And, you know, what information is required and not required when you sign up to come talk. You can't even force someone to be a resident of the city, and we've had residents from outside the city come and make inflammatory accusations during council. But First Amendment, you can't discriminate in that regard. And so, but you can have the rules in place, just like the rules that were enforced about recording, that whether they're right or wrong, you know, it was a bully pulpit to try to teach a lesson, and I'm just trying to establish some control and procedure.
I'm not arguing with you, believe me, sir.
And we will get to the process where we are a month out and talking about stuff in depth ahead of time, because it's the only way to do it, because government should not move fast, but like at the same time, you know, people need to be aware. And you would know more, if I hadn't fallen sick last week, I had a bunch of posts and I was planning.
I understand, short week.
You know, I'm going to be taking these fire hoses and turning them on y'all very soon of information. And so, you know, I want people to know that this is just not my opinion. This is the data. It's all public record, except for social security numbers.
Yep.
And like garnishments. Everything that the city pays for is public record. Anybody can ask for it and request it, and they have 2 weeks to get either notice or to get the information, and, within reasonable, means.
Okay.
And, you know, I've had people challenge me on that already, and we've taken care of that, those information requests. Now, so the second hearing, I think we covered that already.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get there,
Good.
and,
So there's a plan.
yeah, yes, and the budget, you know, we passed the budget in the first meeting, even though, you know, council had like a week or two of like having the information before the meeting, but like, this should be a 3-month process. We all know it's not an overnight process, but, we're also in a very unique situation where we had $1.7 million in surplus last year, and then we've accumulated $7.2 million between our two accounts, and like, you know, so we don't have to put up money for a rainy day fund because we have, you know.
We've got one.
That's right. I mean, Noah, where's Noah, right? Because, I mean, we're ready for
No.
Noah at this
And
point.
kudos to everybody who was ever involved in building that rainy day fund.
Yes, I mean, it's, I would challenge that, I'm not
Well,
going to, but yeah,
okay.
I agree. And then the executive session, so executive sessions should be few and far between.
Okay.
This has just been more heated because,
Just getting started. I
that's
understand.
right, that's right. You know, I put out the open invitation to discuss council and talk about options and meet with everybody and go through scenarios. And, you know, we didn't have them. And so anytime we discuss good name and reputation and or appointments or other information, we can't do that publicly.
I understand.
And so, while I agree a special meeting would probably be ideal, you know, it's hard for people to get here during the workday. And so we will get there, but they will also become fewer and farther.
Is Zoom or something like that allowed for?
It is now,
Okay.
but not, you gotta be careful with the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
I can pass out information to everybody on council, I can't deliberate with council for
Understood.
more than a quorum of council, right?
Mhm.
And so like, if I say, hey, you need to do this, hey, I think you should do this, I've broken the law. And so, and like, when you come to a council meeting and everybody just falls in lockstep without any discussion at all, it makes you wonder, and it makes me concerned.
Yep.
And so, but as things smooth out, more information will be proposed and given, and hopefully I can get, you know, crowdsource some information to help people, help me, right, and help the city. We need many committees and many boards of people who are willing to help the community, because just like we're doing the public service up here, like the community is willing to do the public service too, if we give them the opportunity.
Yep,
And,
absolutely. That's why I'm standing before you.
and so, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you following the process, and I will post some comments and post about the process, the steps. And now that we have an official city Facebook page again, like, you know, that's really not a big deal.
I get it.
We can get the information out.
Good.
And,
What about my street? What are we gonna do?
All right, so Summit Park Road, ever since we increased that speed limit from 25 to 35, that's the result that we've gotten from there. So my look at it moving forward is we revisit that and take that from 35 back to 25. If you can do 35 on that road,
You can do 55 if you want to, and
if you
it's,
can hang that curve in the middle of the rain, you
Well,
can. Good luck to everybody that
well,
can.
and that's why the side of the road's littered with car parts.
But we've literally had, I think in the past three years, we've done that, maybe 4 years, there's probably 6 rollovers there.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's, I mean, it's something that's gotta be changed moving forward.
One caveat of that is that like when we have a rollover, for the longest time, we didn't have the airbags needed to support the vehicles so that you could safely get
Yep.
someone out of the vehicles. And so we're getting there slowly but surely, one step at a time.
I think speed limit's a freebie though.
It is.
Cost you a sign.
Well, and the police have been uncuffed, as it were, and allowed to do their jobs again. And so we're gonna have enforcement, you're gonna see them, and we're.
And if you write me a ticket and I'm speeding,
Yep, absolutely.
I'll own it.
Yep, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's, you know, it's not about quotas, it's about interactions, and it's about letting people know that you're there.
It's also a preventative measure.
That's exactly right.
You know, I'm sure I'd rather have to go to court than have to go to somebody's funeral.
And so, but we will, I mean, Chief Alton heard your concerns, and we will definitely take care of it. And Councilman Ray for years would make comments about never seeing cops on that side of town. And we've made sure that that's not an issue going forward. and we'll continue to improve that.
Thank you.
Yep, thank
All
you.
right, thank you all, appreciate it.
So, moving right along, we're now come to the council comments, and so we'll start with James. Do you have any comments? Yeah. Okay, thank you, James. Marcius? Okay, Terry? Yeah. Everybody? No? With that, I just want to remind everybody, let everybody know that upcoming events, we have the Christmas parade on December 12th at 7 p.m. I did see Ms. McCarroll. Ms. McCarroll, would you mind, I'd like you to explain the Title I situation real quick, so that it's not coming from me. And so, earlier, I just explained that.
Not a lawyer, but I can give you the educational. So in order to qualify for Title I funds, the school has to be 40% of its students have to be below the poverty line. And so Margaret does not qualify, and that's determined on the free and reduced lunch numbers. So at the present time, we do not qualify for any additional funds. So we're kind of in a unique position because things that we need, although we do get different budgets from the Board of Education, those are earmarked for certain things that other schools can use Title I funds for that we do not. And so we really have to prioritize what the county is expecting us to buy with those and what our actual needs are. So that's why we do a lot of fundraising at the school. We have people who do help. I know the city council has helped us. But when you came and spoke to me just a couple weeks ago, one of the things we talked about is one of the educational programs that the board requires us to use for our students. It's our testing program. That's $17,000 a year that comes out of my technology budget. Well, my technology budget was earmarked to replace outdated projectors in all the classrooms. Well, I had to wipe that completely, and we had to completely change gears. And so I just wanted everyone to understand that Margaret is such a great school, and we work tirelessly to provide for our students. But there are needs at our school, and we are handcuffed in some ways just because we don't have that influx of funds that other schools have. I know the Odenville schools are all Title I. I know Asheville is Title I. So I think that there are just 3 schools left in St. Clair County, which would be Moody, Springville, and Margaret, that are not. So I would appreciate, if there's a way that you can help the school, we would definitely be interested in it.
So this is a good point to bring up the budget, as we
Yes.
spoke before. There's a line item in the budget, so for $15,000 to make donations to our school systems that are in Margaret. So this is not money that they have to come to us with a need, it's in the budget. We just need to figure out what, how we can get it to them and who we get it to. And so, it's not about, waiting for something to break, but it's about planning ahead and taking care of our kids and putting the funds for. If we want to give above that budgeted amount, we can have the conversation even more.
Okay.
But exactly to that point, we now have money budgeted for the schools. I'm saying,
Well, usually, like this, we haven't had anybody from the school come and say, hey, we need such and such amount for this and that. Like the high schools came, a couple of other schools from Odenville, they came and said, hey, this is what we need. Hey, if y'all need something, we want to hear it from one of y'all.
Okay.
We'd love to see, hey, this is what we need, this is how you can help us.
We do a great job fundraising and doing the things that we need to do at the school to make sure that the students are taken care of. And so any additional help would be fabulous. And we'll pass that along.
absolutely. And again, this is about making the commitment to the school, not waiting on the need, and not finding the niche thing that they need so that we give the money for, so that you can use it for what you need. And not, other than staff salaries. I don't want to get that bad reputation.
We would not ask for that. We would not.
But yeah, so, again, this is where the budget is so important, so that we can plan for these things, invest in our community, and be prepared to help our community and our citizens succeed.
Okay, all
Thank
right, I
you,
hope
Sarah.
I helped.
Thank you so very much.
And, the Christmas parade, I saw that that was gonna be on Friday. I think it would be fine to line up on Mustang Drive, we just need to keep in mind that we do have after-school care that runs until 6 o'clock. So we would have to make sure that there was a way for those parents, to get in and out that day.
I have a feeling we'll have a ton of police there to help
It'll be fine.
sort traffic.
Okay, all right.
But also, you are gonna be in the parade as well, right?
Yes, sir. I will. Yeah.
I want to make one last comment, and, you know, I have a strong expectation to have every council member in the parade this year. It's never been something that's been pushed before, but I would like to see everybody, if we're not all in the same vehicle, separate vehicles, but I would like to see participation from the city council members in the parade this year. And so we're gonna go from Mustang Drive to North Valley, and so they can either turn around in North Valley or continue on into Woodman Ridge and come out the other side. And so it'll be a shorter route, but there's gonna be plenty of opportunities for parking, seating, and everybody to see, even right here in front of City Hall if you need to. And so, it's gonna be a good event, and, we look forward to it. And then, the City Hall will be closed for Christmas holidays on March 4th and 25th, and our next meeting, will be on the 15th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second, all in favor? So moved. Thank you all so much.